everyone, it's AJ and welcome back to the channel. Got another film review for you, that being The Bride of Chucky. So let's talk about it. Okay, so as you may or may not know, I am rewatching the Child's Play films and reviewing them, culminating in a ranking of the films. That will include the remake as well. The TV series is starting very soon. I intend to be reviewing that episodically as it's shown, and so why not revisit the films. So today we're going to be looking at Bride of Chucky from 1998, although here in the UK we got it on June the 18th of 1999. I believe I would have already have seen it by the time it came out in the cinemas, because inevitably the United States would have had their physical media release, and I would have imported it on DVD, Region 1 DVD at that point. So yes, so the film again, it's below the 90-minute mark. It runs at 1 hour and 29 minutes, like all the others. Don Mancini, who's the architect of the Child's Play films, comes back to write this film again, and it's directed by Ronnie Yu, Asian director who after this actually went on to direct Freddy vs. Jason. Now, this film kind of breaks the mould of the previous three. The previous three were very much set in their ways. They had a specific sort of structure to them. You know, they were very similar in what they'd done. This film kind of ejects the Andy Barclay stuff and creates a new narrative to take Chucky on. So this film stars Jennifer Tilly. She plays Tiffany. Brad Dourif returns as the voice of Chucky. Katherine Heigl plays Jade. Now Katherine Heigl's quite a famous actress in her own right. She starred in Suits, Grey's Anatomy, Knocked Up with Seth Rogen, and she was in Under Siege 2 as Steven Seagal's daughter, Casey Ryback's daughter. Yeah, so yeah, the film also stars an actor called Nick Stable, who plays a character called Jesse, who's the love interest for Jade. I can't tell anything else that he's done. Now, as budgets go, this film had a $25 million budget, so much higher than the previous entries, and worldwide it went on to take just shy of 51 million. So it kind of brought Chucky back to the limelight. There was quite a big gap between the previous part 3 and this one. You know, you're talking about 6-7 year gap. So yeah, this kind of made Chucky relevant again. So as for the story for this film, let's talk a bit about the story, and then I'll get into my thoughts. So again, the film does pick up pretty much where the last one left off, in that you got that connective tissue with the doll itself. Now in this one, the doll is in an evidence lockup. After the events of the last one, he was chopped into pieces, if you want to know, and he's stored in an evidence locker, an unsolved case, in a bag. Now, Jennifer Tilly's character, she has paid a police officer off to go and bring her the evidence bag with the remains of the doll in. She subsequently kills that police officer. She stitches Chucky back up together, performs voodoo ritual, and Chucky comes back to life. As the story progresses, we're introduced to Jade and Jesse, who are two young lovers that they're sort of they're being kept apart. People don't want their relationship to be happening. Tiffany herself, she gets killed by Chucky. They get into a sort of a lover's tiff, so to speak. Chucky kills her, but uses another doll and the voodoo magic to put her soul into this doll, hence the Bride of Chucky. So you've got two dolls. The film does play heavily on sort of the Bride of Frankenstein riff, so much so that you actually got scenes, Tiffany watching scenes of Bride of Frankenstein while she's died, and Chucky himself, where he's all sewed up, he's Frankenstein basically. So Tiffany then uses Jesse to take the two dolls on a road trip, essentially, to the funeral place, or the burial place of Charles Lee Ray, Chucky's human alter ego, because he's wearing an amulet, and they need this amulet to transfer their souls into. Chucky wants to transfer their souls into the bodies of Tiffany, into Jade and Jesse. So yeah, that's essentially a story. So it's still that sort of, we got to get out of this body now. This film is probably the most slick looking of the Child's Play films. It takes it more down the humorous route. Now Chucky himself has far more to do in this film than what he has done in the previous films. His character is increased. He plays off of the Tiffany doll, off of Jennifer Tilly when she's human in it. Like I said, it's played for laughs. Now, the film is very self-aware. It has a lot of nods to other horror films in it. There's, in the evidence lockup at the beginning, as the camera's panning along, you see a hockey mask, you see a chainsaw, you see Freddy Krueger's glove, and you see Michael Myers' face mask. Later on in the film, there's a scene where a police officer is killed. An elaborate trap is set by Chucky and Nat with these nails, and the nails all fly into the police officer's face, and they kill him. And Chucky turns around and says, "Why does that look familiar?" Hinting at Hellraiser. So the film is self-aware, and there's also a scene where character implies, what's Chucky's story, and Chucky says if it was a film, it would take at least a film with 3 or 4 sequels to tell in at this franchise. Yeah, so it's kind of a fresh start to the Chucky franchise. It's a jumping on point for people that were unaware of the series before, because like I said, it kind of ejects the Andy Barclay stuff and takes it in a different route, which does give it this freshness that the franchise did need, because after 3 films focusing around Andy Barclay and the need to get a hold of Andy Barclay and transfer your soul into Andy Barclay, it becomes a bit a derivative, a bit, feel the same things happening all the time. But yeah, so you come to this one. So it's a very funny film. A very, there's a lot of humour revolving around Chucky himself, the way he acts, the things he says, and it is played for laughs. Now, some people may have an issue with this. I don't. When a horror film... See, with me, horror films don't work. Like I said, I'm not overly big into horror because horror has no effect on me. It doesn't scare me and all this. And more often than not, horror films I'll find they'll sort of fall flat at the end. They don't deliver a final act that's particularly any good. So with this film, the minute you inject an element of humour into the film, I become a bit more interested, because it's more easily digestible for me in this. But Chucky's always had a sense of humour through it with the Chucky doll and the things he does, but it's ramped up in this film to another level. The kills in it are pretty inventive. Chucky himself has never looked better than what he does in this film. His movements, the facial movements, again, because you've had 8 years pass and you've had, advances in technology, in puppetry, all this sort of stuff. He does look fantastic. So it's a good film. It's probably my favourite in the franchise thus far, and probably would be my favourite overall in the franchise. It's just a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. There are liberties taken, obviously, in the storytelling, things that you have to, just leave your brain at the front door, so to speak, this sort of thing. But for the most part, a very enjoyable film. And if I was recommending any Child's Play film to anyone, I'd say to them, watch this film. It's very good. So all round a fantastic film. The characters are pretty much well rounded, especially Chucky and Tiffany themselves, the 2 main dolls. They're essentially the main stars of the film. The human element is secondary to the two dolls, which is the first time you've had this in a Child's Play film, and it works fantastic. The screen time is all the way through, essentially. Yeah, and there you go. The film does end on a cliffhanger that leaves it open for the next part. Now, I believe I've only seen the next part once, and it'll be interesting to revisit because I recall it being pretty rubbish. That's Seed of Chucky. Yeah, so we'll see how that one plays out after, you know, when I get around to watching it. But anyway, so that was it for this. If you enjoyed that, again, please consider hitting the subscribe button and joining the channel, checking out some of my other content. There's a lot of reviews to come. Like I said, I will be reviewing the Child's Play TV series each week as each episode drops. Yeah, and I will be doing a ranking for this series as well. I've got 4 more films to get through. Seems a lot, doesn't it? I'm only halfway through. But yeah, so anyway, this is AJ. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all.